A very good morning to all the students and welcome to the part 7 of JSP MVC based login system. So today I thought of giving just a recap, right? Many of you might have thought of cookies to be something, quite complicated or anything, beyond your imagination, or maybe a bit complicated than usual. I'm not underestimating you, but yeah, still I want to give it a try. I want to, make sure that you understand every bit of it before we move ahead with the series of classes, right, online. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. Let's get started with today's class, which is sessions and cookies. So the definition is already given. I would like to repeat again here. Sessions are, our session is, this is session, okay? Session is communication between client and the web server. Why do we use sessions? Many reasons, and one of the major reasons being authentic. So we use it for authentication. A cookie can be for multiple reasons, right? Maybe security, they want to track whether the same user is coming to the website, right? It's also, cookies are also for your security purposes, right? And what we have learned so far, that cookies may also contain sessions as well. So I'll show you the practical demonstration, but before I show you the practical demonstration, as I said, cookies are temporary piece of data, and they, in the form of text files, are stored inside client computers, right, for all the purposes that I have defined and so forth. And basically they are text files, right? So always remember they are text files, right, in a form of text files, right? Okay, now let's get quickly started with the demonstration to explain you in much better way. So today what I am going to do, I am going to your class 1 and I am going to add 2 new JSP pages. All right, let's call this as sessions, session.jsp1. We are having session.jsp, okay, and another we are having cookie.jsp. Session.jsp is there, cookie.jsp is there, and now another we are going to have get sessions and cookies, right? Fine. And another file we are going to have, which is remove session and cookies. So now we have created all the files. Number 1 is session.jsp. Number 2 is cookie.jsp. And now what I do, I just open Scriptlet so that I make you understand in a much better way. It's not for development purposes. Today's video is entirely for understanding purposes. We are going to understand the logic and the syntax behind cookies and sessions, right? It has nothing to do with as that of development or software engineering, right? Because I'm not going to show you object-oriented or anything like that. You might be confused only because we integrate too many things. Like we integrated cookie in an authorized function, then we called cookie in is-authorized function. So that may add up a bit of confusion, or that may end up confusing you guys to some good amount of extent. And now if you practice it yourself, if you practice it separately, still it's going to get rid of the confusion. But yeah, I don't want to add insult to your injury if you have not misunderstood or not correctly understood. So this is the way that I'm going to make you understand, and the way is strictly for lesson understanding, not for software development, right? So now we know that session is an implicit object available here, and session is associated with request, right? And session belongs to HTTP session, right? So we have HTTP session family. So I can call session, right? You can see this here. So it is from HTTP session, and I can make object of session is equal to new session, right? So and since I made an object of session, right, or we can say session, because we cannot make an object, sorry, object is made like this, HTTP session s is equal to request.get session. So since session is something which is associated with the request, right, and then I do session.s.set attribute, and session is a key and a value pair, and I can set, for example, hello from session, right? Okay, fine. So now I can display the session out.println, or I can say out.print session.get attribute auth, right? So this is getting the session and this is setting the session. We set a session by giving a key and a value pair, right? So, and we call, if you want to extract the value out of the session, we call by get attribute, right? And because I keep on emphasizing and putting my insist over implicit objects which are available in JSP right here, right? So now you can see this is what we do in servlets. We don't have to create an object of session right here because it is automatically available, implicit object which JSP gives us, right? So no fun doing that. I'll directly call session, and now this is not the session. Basically what it is the object of session available ready-made. Now if we have to make an object, this is how we make an object, right? I hope you have understood this part. So let's quickly jump in and run the file to test the output, right? So now you can see we are doing two things. We are setting the session and we are getting the session, and the file name is session.jsp, right? So now hello from session is coming from session. Now why do we use sessions? We use sessions to maintain the state of either an object, to maintain state of a variable, or to maintain state of entire page. Why do we maintain states? Because HTTP is a stateless protocol. We have to explicitly do things to maintain the state, like using input type hidden, right, which are also known as hidden types, or we can use cookies, servlet context, and we can use sessions. All right, so far you've understood it. Let's carry on. Now if you want this session variable to be available in some other page, right, so I'll go to get session and cookie. So what I do here, simply out.print session.get attribute. So now let us go to get session and cookies page. Get session and cookies.jsp, right? Now if get s is capital, okay, now you can see here, I don't know, and get session sessions, not session, it is get sessions and cookies, yeah, hello from session. Now how is this page, which is get session and cookies, able to extract values out of session? That's because of non-persistent cookie which is being set, right? And now you can see here, if I go to application and then I go to cookies, right, and I remove this session right here, you can see the session is right here. If I remove this, then we are going to get null. There's nothing in the session, right? So to set the session again, we have to go back to previous file, which is sessions. If I call get session, so that's null. And how do you set session, right? By going to sessions.jsp. Now I revisited session.jsp. Here we have the session that we can use like this, and we can extract the session right here, right? And now we have a problem here, right? And the problem is, I'll show it here using an Internet Explorer, right? So that you understand it in a much better way. Now we know that there's nothing. To set the session, I have to call the session, and this is what we usually do. We set the session only when the user is authenticated. Whenever user types correct credentials, which is username and password, if both of them are correct and user is correctly typed, we jump in, and what we do, we authorize and start a session. Here we are manually starting the session, on session.jsp, and now we can extract the session right here. But we have a problem with this session. The moment we close the browser, because this session, individually the session uses non-persistent cookies. Non-persistent cookies are available only till the browser session is available. The moment browser session ends, the cookies are destroyed, right, automatically. So these cookies are known as persistent cookies. Now you can see we have null. The moment we close the browser, we get null. Now, what is the funda and what is the logic behind that? Logic behind it is very simple. Right, that session variables, they do use cookies, but implicitly session variable and cookies that session variables use or session objects use, are non-persistent, right? So non-persistent means close the browser, cookie is destroyed, means the session is destroyed, right? If you are asked tomorrow in an interview, let's say they may ask you this question, does session variables use cookies, right? So they do use, session variables do use cookies and session objects do use cookies, but which kind of cookies? By default, they are non-persistent cookies, right? So now let's jump in and see what is persistent cookie. Alright, so I'll go to cookie.jsp now. So let me go to cookie right here. It looks like a coconut cookie that we just have to eat with tea. Cookies and tea is a real taste, right? So now to set cookie, you have to call cookie, C-O-O-K-I. It's again HTTP cookie if you want to see, yeah. Alright, you can see this. So cookie C, or let's call this cookie, small cookie, object of the cookie is equal to new cookie, which again is key and the, it is again a key and a value pair. So I'll say hello from cookie, right? Now, because you have to save this inside client computer as a text file, right? So now you request for the page, you are getting the request, and now we have to see what to give back to the client as a response, right? Client requested for cookie.jsp. Now I have to give a valid cookie. I have to set a valid cookie inside his computer, right, in a form of response. So now let us do, I will say first cookie.set maximum age. Now you can see it is in seconds, right? So 60 seconds into 60 is equivalent to 1 minute, I suppose. Okay, then 60 into 60 is, yeah, 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay, 60 into 60 is going to be 1 minute, and then I am going to do it into 60, right? Let me see how many seconds are they. So I don't know. Let me do my mathematics right. 60 into 60 is equal to 600, right? So I will say divided by 12. Alright, so that is 200. So I'll say 60 into 60 into 24 into 30. So now we are setting this cookie for a month, right? You can set the cookie for an hour or maybe, who knows, right, what you are setting this cookie for. Okay, fine. Let's say cookie dot set HTTP only, and it takes it's basically boolean, right? Set HTTP only to true, right? So the moment you set, I didn't show you this property right here, true. I just forgot. So always remember. Now I'll show you without true and with true both. So let's say cookie okay, let's say cookie dot, we are done it, we're done. So let's say response response dot add cookie. Now we have been able to add cookie to response, right? So now let us see. I go to cookie, now you can see auth cookie here, but HTTP here is not true, right? You can find it here. Let me get rid of this. Now, unless the HTTP environment, the cookie is set only for HTTP environment, means that nobody can hijack it from localhost. If you try session hijacking from localhost, you may not be able to extract the cookie, right? Because it is going to be available only within the HTTP range. So for that, you have to add that security, which is going to be cookie dot set HTTP true, which is by default false, right? By default it is false. Now once I have set HTTP true, you can see HTTP true is checked here, and this is the session that cookie may use for persistence, right? Okay, now done. So is this part done? HTTP. Okay, now this is how we set cookie. Now we have to retrieve cookie. So let us see this right here. Now we say COOKI cookie right? So COOKIE, cookie, I have to import this cookie right here, okay, is equal to, now we request to get the cookie back from client dot get cookie. So get cookie, you're calling cookies, right? Now cookie, what happened here? Cookie, yeah, because it returns, yeah, it returns array. Now you can see here, the moment I say get cookies, right? So now you can see right here that get cookies returns arrays of cookies, right? So we have to make sure that we take it in an array and terminate it, right? And now why does it return array, right? So because you may have as many cookies as you want, right? You can have as many cookies as you want, and you can set as many cookies as you want inside the client computer for authorization purpose, as said earlier, right? So I put light on that, but yeah, still I repeat, because hammering at times work unless we hammer you guys the same thing again and again and again, and then and only then you guys will remember, right? So always remember, get cookies is going to return array of cookies, right? So you got to take which kind of array? It's going to be cookie array, so we are going to take it in cookie. So now we are looking for a specific cookie, which is auth cookie. Maybe we're looking for a specific cookie, right? Let's say we have two things right here. Now one, we are starting a session auth. Let us start the session. Okay, let me first go and start the session. Okay, now session has started. Now go to cookie, cookie has started. Now we have two session cookies. One is persistent, another is non-persistent. One is auth and another is auth cookie, right? So now let us do this. Okay, now you have called cookie request dot get cookie. So now if I say out dot print, right, COOKIE, so I'll say print cookie 0, right, dot get name. Right? So cookie 0, I want to print the name of cookie 0 only if it's available. So now how do you get the name of the cookie? By calling this file get session and cookie. So I'll go back to get session cookies, and you can see auth cookie is, at this time auth cookie is set at 0. And what is that? 1, element number 1 may have JSession ID. Yeah, it's having JSession ID. Let us do one thing. Let us destroy both of them. Okay, so I'll destroy both of them. And now what I do, I will start a session first other than a cookie. Let us go to session.jsp. Hello from session, the session has started. Now let us go to cookie.jsp, and the cookie has started as well. Now let us go to get session cookies, and what are we asking for? Give me cookie on element number 0. On element number 0 we had auth cookie. Now you can see it has changed. Now we are having JSession ID, right? So you can have as many cookies as you want, but you are never sure, right, what is the element number of your cookie. Your cookie, if you are using many cookies, right, so and these many cookies, they can be, you can use these many cookies in a single web application. Now you're looking for a specific cookie, which is authorization or authentication cookie. Why are you looking for it? Maybe you have to destroy, you have to check for authorization, or someone has clicked the logout button, he wants to manually log out, right? So you have to be sure of which cookie you're calling. I've shown you the experiment. Go and rewind the video and see earlier 0 had auth cookie. Now 0 is having JSession ID, and now 1 may have cookie, right? 1 has auth cookie. And now let's say about we have another session, all right? Maybe we are having another session. So let me say session.set attribute ABC session. Now we have 2 sessions right here, and let me go and clear all. All right, so let me go to application and clear all the sessions and all the cookies, and let me set it up once again for you guys. Let me go to session. Now we have started how many sessions? 2 sessions, remember. Now let me go to cookie. We have started cookie as well. So let me go and try what is at element number 0, because cookie is returned. It has returned, okay, it's JSession ID. What is at number 1 now? Okay, let me see. Number 1 has auth cookie now. You can see what is at number 2. Okay, number 2 is throwing an exception. It has nothing in it, right? So you can have as many cookies as you want, right? You can create as many cookies, right? So we can say another cookie right here. So for example, I create another cookie. I'll say auth cookie 2, right? So cookie 2, right? Auth cookie 2 dot set age response dot add cookie 2, right? So now we'll add it again, and before I add it, let me destroy all the cookies again. Alright, so all are destroyed here. So now let me go ahead and say auth cookie 2 is a reserved token. Alright, so I will say AUTH, or we can say cookie, or say something. Let's call this something. The cookie is known as something. Alright, so let me go and create a session, and the session is created. Go to cookie.jsp, something is a reserved cookie name, something is a reserved token, I don't know. Cookie is a reserved token. You're adding cookie 2. Okay, we're doing it in the same page, so that's why we are getting this error, right? Because we're doing it in the same page. Something is a reserved token, maybe, who knows? Okay, no, because of space, right? So we had given some extra space. Now we have 2 cookies and we have something. Now let's see what we have now. Get session and cookies. Auth cookie is at option number 1. Element number 1. Sorry, not option number. Element number 0 has JSession ID. Element number 2 has something. So now you can see you can have many cookies. Now which specific cookie are you looking for requires you to loop through, right? So you need to loop through. So I'll say for, right? Now remember this. So I'm calling for each. So I'll say COOKIE, or you can see if we can get cookie dot length. So I'll say cookie dot length. Can we display cookie dot length? No, because it's not an array. So I will say str count. So I can say cookie dot. I'll say cookie dot, or maybe, so I'll say cookie length is there, but why doesn't it return a length, right? So I will say out dot print length is there. I don't know why doesn't it show. Yeah, cookie dot length is not a function, sorry. Now I can say cookie dot length. Now we have 3 cookies. Either you can run a for each loop, or you can run a for loop. So let me say for int I is equal to 0. I am initializing I with 0. I is less than, right, or equivalent to. So I can say I is less than or equivalent to, right, cookie. I don't know because I'm not sure about the cookie length, so I'll use cookie dot length and I plus plus. This is the loop that you can use to fetch or to loop through the cookies. I can say out dot print. Now I can say out dot print, let me use print ln, so that when we loop through we get a different cookie, and I want cookie and I'll pass I here, so that when I loop through cookies I get all the cookies that we have. Let's see. Okay, what happened is less than, maybe, who knows. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so we are getting all the cookies, but we can say dot get name. Okay, so we're getting the name here. Now let us see how many cookies. Are we using println? Yeah, we are using println. Okay, but still not, println is still not working. Maybe I will have to manually do a BR, a break line, and see whether it works. Yeah, it has worked. So we have JSession ID, we have auth cookie, and we have something. What else we can do? I can say get domain. What is the domain of the cookie, right? All 3 cookies. Now you can say domain we haven't set, right? So it's going to be null. I can say what is the maximum age of the cookie? Sorry. What is the maximum age of the cookie? So I'll say get maximum age. Okay. Fine, so let us see. Right, so we're not getting it, so it's giving -1 because it's in seconds. So let's say dot value. What is the value inside the cookies? Now you can see the value is, now first cookie, it's nothing. First has garbage because we haven't set the session, because it is going to be encrypted. Session is used for authentication purposes, so it's going to be an encrypted value. Hello from cookie, both has hello from cookie. And we can basically, we're more interested in whether they have started or not. Path is not set, so what we are more interested in, get name of the cookie. Now we have seen why do we use for. Now the short term for using loop is what I have shown you. Use the class name cookie that you are going to loop through, right, as C, and you are going to take this cookie as an object, and now this is going to be your row wise loop in for each. Right, so I can directly now call rows.getName. That's it. And this is what we used in the previous lesson. Now we is doing the same thing, and this is much sophisticated way of calling a loop or using a loop in Java 8. Alright, I hope you have understood it. Alright, okay. Now if you have understood it, if you want to look for a specific cookie, I will say first of all, you are going to run this loop only when even one cookie is available. If there is no cookie, so there is no fun of running this code. So I will say if cookie is not equivalent to null, even if one cookie is available. Otherwise, for loop is going to throw null pointer exception if you are running loop, on or using a null cookie. It's going to throw that null pointer exception for you, right? So since we are not interested about those null pointer exceptions, we want to save those exceptions. So that's why if there is something in the cookie, then loop through, right? And say if at any row, right, if you match, right, if you can say if rows, if at any row, right, dot get name, right, if it matches, right, so we will say equals, ignore the case, you can use dot equals, right, it depends on you. If it equals, right, what cookie are we setting? Auth cookie, right? Okay, if you happen to meet auth cookie, right, while looping through, what you do, you do one thing, you do out.print, right, out.print, let's say yes. If not, so then else out.print yes, no. If you find this cookie, print yes. And now here's the problem. What are we going to get? We are going to get no, yes, no. We are going to get three values: no, yes, no. You see, no, yes, and no. Right? Why? Because once you loop through, there are three cookies. Right? Once you loop through, cookie is not present, inside element 0. So in element 0, cookie is not there, so you get no. Right? Then you loop through again. Element 2, right, has cookie, you print yes, right here. So now you loop through again, right, element 3 does not have auth cookie, right, you print no. So to save this, because you have to use cookie for authorization purpose, what I did, I said is valid. So I created boolean is valid cookie is equal to false. So I know that this cookie is false, right? So boolean is valid cookie is equivalent to, okay, what happened? False, right? It's small. Okay, now it is false only when you find auth cookie. Set is valid cookie to true, and if you do not find it, right, set it to false. It's as simple as anything. Now you'll not get repeated values, right? This true and false is just used. It is application development logic which is not meant to be taught. It's by natural. It should come to you naturally while practicing. But yeah, let me show you now this, right? So I will say if is valid cookie, right? If it is true, then do this. If it is not true, then do this. It's the most sophisticated way to do out.print yes, else out.print no, right? Now, why are we doing this? Just to avoid yes, no, no. I need either yes, I need either no. Now you can see no, absolutely no. So that's no problem, right? So if you match, if you at any moment in time, you match, okay, why am I doing this? Sorry. Inside this if here, sorry. All right, okay, now let's see. By default, it's false. Why are we getting no, first of all? You tell me. Okay, while you are looping through, right, if auth cookie is found, is valid cookie is going to be true. If it is not found, it is going to be false. No, we cannot use else because first it's found and then it's not found, so else it's going to be false. Yeah, let's not use for else because it's already false here, right? Because if it's not found, let's say about the if body is going to be executed only if this condition is true. I repeat, this will be executed only if this condition is true. Unless this condition is true, this is never going to get executed, right? So because this is already false, right? So if it doesn't get true, so this is never true, right? If the condition is not true here, valid will not be true, so it will always be false. So let's do that. Alright, so we have yes. Now you can clearly see we are getting yes, not yes, no, no, 3 times, 4 times. No, that's not going to serve the purpose. That's not going to solve the problem. Now in case if I delete cookie, all the cookies are deleted, right? Alright, so let me create only one cookie here. I go to cookie and let me not create auth cookie. Let me create something cookie for you guys, right? So that you understand it in much better way. So let me go to cookie. Now cookie is there, but is auth cookie there? No, auth cookie is not there. But the cookie is there, but auth cookie is not there. If cookie is there, what is the name of the cookie? Cookie is there. Name of the cookie is something. So that's not the authorization cookie. Alright, so let us replace this with auth cookie now. Alright, and let's replace this with auth cookie, and let's go and click auth cookie, and we should get yes. Right, now you'll tell me, sir, why are we doing this? Two ifs and only because we are not meant to print and justify anything inside a loop, right? Because once you're moving from element to element, you're not sure where or inside which element your cookie resides. You're not sure about the element that it resides in. So in that case, you are going to make this condition true only when the cookie is found, right? Now if it is not found, let's say about if you're using else, so then it's going to have yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, right? And what else you can do here, right? So this is done. So this is what we do in is authentic function. Let's see what we have done previously is authorized, sorry, not in is authentic, is authorized function. What are we doing? Calling the cookie, setting is valid false, and checking if the session has started, because we have to compare. Now first, if the session is null, that means session is null, doesn't matter, maybe user has logged in using remember me. Then check if the cookie is there. While looping through the cookie, set is valid true. Only is valid is going to get true only if auth cookie is found. If it's not found, it's always going to be false. If it is false, so is valid is going to be false only if there is no session, only if there is no cookie, right? I repeat, if session is null, go to else, right, and you can see if this session is not equal to null. If it is null, right, that means user has not started the session, then go for cookie. If it is not null, then set is valid true and redirect the user, no problem. All right, do not, sorry, then do not redirect the user because is valid is false. Now if the session has not been started, and then check whether cookie is there. If cookie is there, right, you are making is valid true. Only way that you are going to get redirected back to the main page is only when cookie is false. So same logic is used here. So there's no rocket science involved. Now I hope you have understood it in much better way. Now let's go remove session and remove cookie. So first I'll tell you how to remove session. So I'll say session dot remove attribute, right? And what's the name of this? Auth. Maybe auth, or who knows, we have many sessions, so let me get rid of one session. So session is auth, so I'll say session dot remove attribute auth. So that's it. Let me start a session. Okay, session.jsp, hello from session, and let me now go to remove session and cookies. Session and cookies. So cookies are good with breakfast or maybe with tea, who knows. Now you can see that the cookie session has been removed. If I go back and check what is the file name, maybe the file name is check session and cookies. I'll go back. Right, so the file name is get session and cookies. So I'll say yes, I'm getting yes. Get session and cookies. So let me delete this and check for sessions. So I'll say session, or I can say out.print session.get attribute, and the session name is auth, as simple as anything. And I will go to auth and say get authentic session. Hello from session is already there. Now if I go and let's say about now if I go and remove the session, now you can see I have removed the session. I go to session get cookies. Now you'll get null because the session has been removed, right? So as a measure of security, only remove the session when the session has started, right? This is going to be for security, so that null pointer exception is not caused. So I'll say if session dot get attribute auth is not equivalent to null. So that means I am going to remove the session only if there is something in the session. If the session is already null, so there is no fun of removing the session. So this is how you remove sessions. So let me come back to cookies now. So now you have to remove cookies. So now to remove cookies, you still have to make sure that which cookie to remove. So right, so I'll use the same code to remove cookies. So I'll not do this here. All right, so I'll not do this. Right. Okay, now so we are looping through. We have called cookies. If cookie is not equivalent to null, only when you are able to find the cookie, only then remove the specific cookie. So I will say rows dot get where is that, get name dot set, or we can say here if you have found that specific cookie right here. Alright, so if you have found any specific cookie, so I will say rows dot set maximum age to 0. So this is what, and this is how your cookie is going to get expired. So now why am I doing it in get session cookies? This is only to display cookies. So sorry, my mistake. So let me display the cookie right here. Get session and cookies. Okay, now this is cookies, so I'll just get rid of this. Right, so this is only to display cookies. So I'll say out.print rows.get name. So this is to display the cookie. So let me start a cookie by going to cookie.jsp auth cookie. Okay, fine. So let me go to cookie.jsp, and here we start the cookie. Now let me get session and cookies. I get auth cookie. We're getting only one cookie, despite of it, it doesn't matter how many cookies you have, because we are running the conditional formatting. If it's auth cookie, then only display auth cookie. Fine. So now let's remove the cookie, right? So I'll put this code here. To remove the cookie, what we need to do is we have to set the maximum age to 0 seconds, and immediately the cookie is removed. So let's call remove session and cookies. Call again remove session and cookies. Now say get session and cookies. Right? Okay, how are we session? Okay, I forgot. The moment you set rows.set maximum age, right? So you can also do this. You have to do this again. So we'll say res response dot add cookie. You have to add the same cookie back, right? Which cookie do you have to add? The same rows cookies, right? So let me try cookie. Let me try removing the cookie. Now I think the cookie is removed. Go back, and now you can see cookie is removed, right? So always remember, the moment you set maximum age to the cookie, right, please add cookie back to response stream. So this is what you are going to do in logout, and this is what you are going to do in isAuthorized function, and this is what you are going to do in authorize function. Authorize the user, start a cookie, but yeah, you still have to do comparison if there is session, if cookie is not null and all that. And then this is authentic, and this is going to be your logout function. Still we have to run comparison here. If session has started, destroy the session. If cookie has started, then destroy the cookie, or at the time of logout you can destroy both of them, so it does not matter at all. What time is it? So yeah, so it's already been 40 seconds since we started recording this class. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, or you can message me as well. I tried my level best to make you guys understand about cookies and the basic operation of sessions and cookies, both retrieving the cookie, setting the cookie, destroying the cookie. I hope it's done. If you have understood, please message me. If you have not understood, still message me. I wish you all the best and see you tomorrow, inshallah. Bye bye, take care.